listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
All right, shout out to the Tuff Tiger Talk Nation. We in this episode. Much love to the fam. Appreciate you, Big Q, with another episode, another update on the LSU Tigers. So y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share Tuff Tiger Talk with the Tuff Tiger Talk LSU football family, period. We in this thing, man. And in this broadcast, man, we're going to talk about several news, notes, and items on this 30-minute episode of Tuff Tiger Talk, man. And what's interesting, man, is so many things to talk about. Since Lane Kiffin has arrived in Death Valley, just assembling his staff, getting things taken care of in just huge manners. We talked about in previous broadcasts about LSU having that historical transfer portal class. Some say the best there ever was in terms of ranking, and he just continues to kind of just turn it on right here as we can kind of jump right into this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. Let's kind of get right into it. ESPN labels LSU's football historical transfer portal class #1 in recent rankings, and you can see Coach Kiffin is handling this business, man. Like I said, he's a workaholic, and he's building his team in a major way. And what has emerged is a historic haul for the program in Baton Rouge. Kiffin and company have inked over 40 newcomers via the free agent market, headlined by the #1 overall player in Sam Levitt. LSU has signed 8 top 100 transfers along with top 50 wide receivers, with the offense in the Bayou State now redesigned, but the elite weapons on offense, on defense, has also stolen the spotlight. Once Kiffin arrived in Baton Rouge, the championship expectations were elevated to new heights, but piercing together, a content roster was the utmost importance. Now, after roughly 50 days on the job, 50 days, less than 2 months, Kiffin and company have assembled one of the best rosters in America, headlined by the #1 transfer portal class this offseason. ESPN weighed on the new look roster and why the portal haul at LSU is a game changer. You can see right here the tweet right here showing LSU ahead of Texas Tech, Indiana, Texas Longhorns, Ohio State, Penn State, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Michigan, among others. So very good. The historic haul, portal haul. LSU knew hiring Lane Kiffin would invite plenty of scrutiny, but also plenty of big fish in the portal. Kiffin lived up to his reputation as a deal maker by securing multiple top players in the portal. Landing quarterback Sam Levitt from Arizona State was a high wire act, but the Tigers emerged from the portal cycle one of the most dynamic players available. And if all goes according to plan, Levitt's heir apparent in Hussein Longstreet of USC, a cavalcade of new receivers, including Eugene Wilson III from Florida, J.C. Brown from Kansas State, Trey Brown III from Old Dominion, and Winston Watkins from Ole Miss should help revamp LSU's passing attack. Add in Boise State's defensive back, Ty Benefield, who had the 7th most tackles, 105 among defensive backs in 25. Some reinforcements along the defensive line, including top-ranked edge Prince Will, Yuma Meneline, and the Tigers reloaded about as well as they could have hoped for. Through the offensive line, depth remains a bit murky. So there's still some stuff to work on, but a lot of positive things to kind of talk about for the LSU team going into this upcoming season. Now let's kind of jump right into the rest of the topics. Y'all hit the like button on Tuff Tiger Talk. Lane Kiffin is trying to flip 5-star recruit from the Texas Longhorns. Do tell. Shout out to LSU Wire for providing the scoop. LSU football is cranking up the effort to flip 2027 in-state prospect committed to an SEC rival. Lane Kiffin visited Easton Royal, the #1 wide receiver in the class, on Thursday. Royal posted a photo on social media of him and Kiffin at Brother Martin High School. New Orleans native revealed his decision on November the 29th to play at Texas. It occurred following the dismissal of Brian Kelly by LSU and amid uncertainty about the future in Baton Rouge. Kiffin and company are making a final push to keep the 5-star prospect at home. Now, according to Rivals industry ranking, slots Raw as the #7 player in the 27 cycle. He's the top wide receiver nationally and top player out of Louisiana. Despite making a visit to Baton Rouge in the fall. The Tigers originally missed out on a top recruit in their own backyard, but getting there, you can see Coach Kiffin really did a wonderful job and taking care of business this year, but he's also building upon the future and trying to get top talent to add in 2027 and create a football pipeline. That's what we're trying to do. He continues to pull out all stops on the recruiting trail for transfer portal players and high school prospects alike. Getting raw will give LSU much needed momentum heading into the next critical stretch of courting in 2027. So, you can't say nothing but great things about what Coach Kiffin is doing, because that's what I've been using the title. I've been saying football factory. And what I mean by football factory, I'm talking about what you see Georgia doing, what you see Alabama do prior to that. You're starting to see guys like the football factories, the Ohio States. That's a football factory. Ohio State, Alabama at one time, Georgia, football factories, not people that pop up and disappear and waver from year to year. We're talking about teams that are consistently going to be in the discussion to compete for a college football championship. That's a football factor. So if you start winning in the initial year and all you do is just keep it going and just keep it going and keep it going, and lo and behold, you have a football factor when you have some of the top players in the game coming to your school. Now, of course, the NIL changes that a bit because of the money and all that, and that's more of an enticement to bring players away from money, just besides winning, right? So that's a part of it. But to be honest, LSU is very modern in its approach in terms of handling that. They approach it similar to NFL free agency. If you think about an NBA, they have a general manager and other people that are aware to know what players to get. And Kiffin has a good gauge of where he needs to go with this program, as you can see. And when it's all said and done, from an offensive standpoint, it's not like he was left with anything from the previous guy. He totally rebuilt this stuff, in terms of adding talent over the last less than 2 months since he's gotten here. I think the report said 50 days or so. But it's just more of the greatness that we've seen from LSU, just committing all of its resources to really just taking this thing to the next level, right? So anyway, here's more of that, man, to just kind of bounce on that. It's more of what they were saying about this. It's from the real work beginning when the transfer portal started. LSU inked 41 signees. LSU holds the pledges from eight top 100 players. These are the top 100 guys. Number 1, Sam Levitt. Number 5, Prince Will Yuma. Number 21, Hussein Longstreet. Number 40, Ty Bennefield. Number 55, Eugene Wilson. Number 59, edge rusher Jordan Ross. Number 79 is inside linebacker Devin Harper. And number 95, wide receiver J.C. Brown. So this is a really solid class that's really, and a lot of these guys are going to step in and have major roles in offense and defense as well. So that was, and then of course the addition of Prince Will Yuma was a huge get, right? And that place in LSU's program class is the highest rated in the last 4 years, which is something ridiculous. The number 1 edge rusher. This is going to be big. 6'5", 245, transfer, number 5th overall in the portal, 9 sacks plus 45 tackles, and is familiar with Coach Kiffin. So Coach Kiffin not only bringing offensive resources as he's known to do, but he's also bringing defensive people over too to help improve. And we're getting the edge rushing, we're getting the athletic ability from this, and this is just what we need going forward. We need that philosophy, that leadership to take us. And of course, here's some of the other stuff to kind of talk about when we have, with that quarterback Sam Levitt, Hussein Longstreet, Landon Clark are the quarterbacks. Running backs, Racine Guillory, Rod Gainey Jr., Dylan Jones, and Stacey Gage. Now, these are the running backs, not to mention Harlan Berry is in this, and we'll have an updated depth chart that we put together here on Tuff Tiger Talk just to show you guys at the end of the broadcast. These are wide receiver Harris, Trey Brown, J.C. Brown, Eugene Wilson, Tyree Holloway, Malik Elzy, Josh Jackson, Winston Watkins, and Roman Mothershed. Wide receivers of all shapes and sizes, from guys who's 6 feet tall to 6'4". Big wide receivers, guys with speed. The tight ends, 2 added, Malachi Thomas, 6'4", 240 from Pitt, and Zach Grace, 6'3", 238 from Oregon, joins the team. Offensive line, you can see right here as well. Sprinkle, Satters White, which was big to get him in. Jacoby Jones, Darian Stray, Jamar Jones, Sean Tompkins, Devin Harper, we talked about, and Alau Ba from Maryland. The edge guys we talked about, Jordan Ross is there as well. And it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of great things to kind of look at here, to be honest with you, dealing with this team, man. And like I said, it's a terrific thing that we're doing. All right. So anyway, man, as we keep this thing going, moving and grooving, edge rushers Ross, Brown, Woods, and you can see Human Minneling is there as the edge. The defensive line, Blockton and Stefilian Green, TJ Dottery. It's also mentioned there. This could be big because TJ Dottery is another really good player that Ole Miss defense had last year. That, based on what happened with Whit Weeks, he could be a guy to step in there. Theo Grace, who's the brother of the tight end as well. Safeties, Benefield, Fahim Delaney, who's the brother of Mansour Delaney, who comes in as a safety. Mason Dossett from Baylor, and the special team players that we make mention of, getting a new kicker, long snapper, and punter in the same situation is a very positive thing, period, for the team. All right, let's keep it moving as this thing as well on this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. We keep doing what we do here. So you can see LSU football emerging as potential landing spot for the number one cornerback in America. Lane Kiffin and company continue the pursuit. The Tigers coaching staff checks in with elite defensive back on this past Thursday. So Cornelius, North Carolina, William Amos Hugh, the 5-star cornerback Deshaun Dobson, received a visit from LSU coaching staff on Thursday, with the program intensifying its efforts for his service. Now, Dobson is seen as the number one rated cornerback in 2027 cycle, as he emerges a household name with a myriad of different programs entering the race for his services. And of course, he's 6'1", 170 pounds. From South Carolina, he's reeled in offers from the likes of Alabama, Georgia, Texas, North Carolina, and Florida State, among others. But Dobson recently shifted his focus to 12 schools after revealing his finalists in September, with the Bayou Bengals making the cut. So there you go. LSU alone and Ohio State sits aside those guys. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida State, Texas Tech, and then you see Penn State, Clemson, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Oklahoma as contenders. Now LSU is intensifying its pursuit for Dobson, with the defensive coordinator Blake Baker and secondary coach Raymond going out at him, Coach Corey Raymond, flying out to North Carolina to go meet with him. Now LSU, as you can see the pictures right here, checking in with the cornerback right here, and Blake Baker and Corey Raymond trying to land the best cornerback in the nation. So we'll see how this goes, because he likes LSU. And listen, a lot of it's predicated on the success LSU has this season as well, fam. Let's not get it twisted, right? The reality to talk about is really what's going to happen for this team is simple. A lot of these recruits are going to be watching. Of course, the NIL money is going to be a factor, but it's also the success of the program. If LSU is operating like it's supposed to and doing all of these things and improving, there should be a college football playoff. Now, people finished last year how we finished, with so many losses, all this kind of stuff, but that was due to the fact that Brian Kelly had totally lost his team. People were already checked out on Coach Kelly. And of course, it was just a bad energy around the team that ultimately fell apart. And it's unfortunate, but that's what caused his descent and to crash and burn in his final year. You can see the pressure mounting up on him. He did not handle it well. His offense was not. It was offensive. Let's just be honest with you. But in the end, Lane Kiffin is probably one of the top minds, offensively speaking. How he runs his offense, fast-paced offense. He has skilled players all over the place. It's the type of offense that you have problems with. When we matched up against Lane Kiffin's offense, it was always fast-paced. And you can see how it helped the defense when you have that type of offense that operates at that pace, right? that uses spread models that spread out defenses and take advantage of them, like we seen in Ole Miss and Charlie Weiss Jr. operating it. This is the reason why we had a lot of success. They had a lot of success in Ole Miss, and him as an offensive coordinator and other stops. Now he'll be tasked with taking this to the next level because he wants a championship. Out of all the things that he's done, he's made all of the money. He got a $90 million contract for 7 years. And at the end of the 7 years, what we want to see from Lane Kiffin is at least two championships. If he gets two championships, there's not one coach in LSU history that did that. Out of all the terrific coaches that we did have, there's not too many coaches that actually did that, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you talk about Coach Saban, you talk about Coach O, you talk about Coach Miles. They were coaches that were at the top of their game at the time. But Lane Kiffin, at the right age, having the handle on the transfer portal, which he can build. This first one was good. Just imagine what he can do in a full-time docket here and building this team up. Now, the answer going into next year is, of course, can you keep it together? When they really start achieving success, you're going to start seeing people go other places and guys being offered other jobs. And then that's when it gets complicated. But LSU's tuning up like they want to be in a discussion for the college playoffs. That is the floor on which you want to operate. Now, I'll ask you guys, and a lot of you guys know, there's not much of a honeymoon that's going to be given to Lane Kiffin. The amount of money and resources and everything that has been given to him, there's not going to be much of a honeymoon period. And he understands that. That's why he's hitting the ground running and recruiting and doing all the things that he's supposed to do to kind of build this thing forward. So, going after these guys, we just talked about the article when he went to talk about in the 20s to meet with the 2027 top wide receiver prospects. So getting ahead in the game and seeing if you can land these prospects and not allow them to go to teams like Texas or in conference teams or in even Texas or any of these guys. LSU needs to not only win next year, but they need to make the college playoff and at least make a name for themselves in there. And this is sidebar, but I really do think if Lane Kiffin was allowed to coach, and Keith Carter didn't get emotional and get in his feelings and say, no, you can't coach this team or whatever the case may be. You got to go. Pete Golden's the guy now. If he allowed Lane Kiffin to coach the Ole Miss squad, I do think that they would have been in the college playoffs. I really don't know whether they would have beat the other team. They had enough to do it. Had they had Lane Kiffin there and the full staff operating, they probably would have won and he would have left with one. But it worked out for us because when Keith Carter got emotional and told him, no, you can't coach no more, what it did was it sent him to LSU and he got to work over the last 50-something odd days to build this program and this transfer portal and take talent from Ole Miss coaches and players. So, we'll see if they can do their own thing down the line. But as far as LSU, I see a lot of great things happening for this program going forward. So him going to meet with Dobson, or rather Coach Raymond and Coach Baker going to meet with Dobson and seeing if they can land focus there. We'll see what's happening because, listen, they're going to keep doing this thing. So also remember that Coach Raymond, he landed a top 10 cornerback in America, Havon Finney Jr., in the 2026 recruiting cycle as the crown jewel at the position. So Coach Raymond is one of the best in the game and getting defensive backs to commit to LSU. LSU now needs to be about the business of winning and getting in the college playoff and pushing forward through it. That is the floor in which we need to stand. All right, anyway, let's keep it moving, man, and grooving. Y'all hit that like button. We in this thing. How about another one for you guys here as we talk about what LSU is attempting to do here? We got another issue. Like, we've been trying to get the recruit, the offensive line. Our offensive line could still use some pieces. We know this. But, this is the latest update on Jordan Seaton, the big offensive lineman that left Oregon. And, of course, he came in and, of course, he's doing his due diligence. And some people still believe that ultimately at the end of and LSU try to put a little commitment, a little power, a little press on him to commit to them, but he's keeping his options open. But I ultimately think people believe that Seaton will find his way to LSU. So anyway, let's get into this article right here to kind of give us a brief update. One big target remains for LSU. Transfer portal board is Colorado. I said Oregon. I mean Colorado left tackle Jordan Seaton. Seaton entered the portal early this month, but as the most top prospects have found in new homes, he remains uncommitted. Early this week, reports suggested LSU was building momentum with the coveted offensive tackle. Now Friday is here, and Seaton is yet to make any public commitments. On3's consensus transfer portal ranks slot Seaton as the number 4 overall player and the best rank still available. Seaton plays a premium position and is a position of need for LSU. He'd be a massive get for Lane Kiffin and the Tigers. It's like the last hurrah player that we can really use. LSU already has the best transfer portal class in the country, but the group lacks a bona fide offensive tackle with powerful experience. Seaton fits the bill. For now, the waiting game continues. There aren't any reports on Thursday indicating that Seaton was close to making a final decision, but that doesn't mean one isn't imminent either. Nobody seems to know right now. Yeah, he's keeping a lot of people puzzled. Jordan Seaton is. At first, we thought that he could be that he was really feeling LSU, but I'm not mad at the guy. The guy wants to keep his options open. And listen, if this will be a big get to help because this guy plays that tackle position, and it will be good having him because he's a solid offensive lineman. Getting him and plugging him in on the offensive line for LSU and protecting Sam Levitt and helping run power through the running game will be big because, like we said before, the question mark going into the season is we found some quarterbacks, we got the running back situation, we got stuff going on pretty good in terms of our wide receiver position. The tight end position was fortified. We did average or bring in some offensive linemen, Satterwhite and other guys to compete there. But the cherry on top is Jordan Seaton. If we can get him, man, that would be a massive get, man, and a major plus. And I know LSU is still really focusing on and see exactly where this guy is, man. And hopefully we can be able to get something on him, man. And as soon as I find something out about it, fam, I'll let y'all know. All right, anyway, let's keep it going to the next one. Hit the like button, fam. We up in this thing. Hit the sub button and the notification bell as well. LSU's nowhere to be found in ESPN's early 2026 college football playoff projections, right? ESPN isn't too confident in Lane's given the ability to reach the CFP in his first year at Baton Rouge. And this is the talking point. We'll get into the article. What's interesting is this. LSU wasn't a dumpster fire or what we left. Now, Lane Kiffin did have to build up pretty much everything offensively speaking, which means you're taking these talented players from all over the country and you're bringing them there. And then you'll be tasked over the summer to turn this collection of people into an actual cool, consistent or a harmony, a team, and operating in principles of harmony and togetherness. But that's the great thing about football, right? If you're a football player, you can play with other football players, especially if you're Lane Kiffin, you command the respect. The offense will be wide open. And a lot of these players, Kiffin doing a good job of picking up on size and speed from different players. I think the terrific thing is after losing so many wide receivers, I was able to look up a lot of these wide receivers, look at tape on a lot of these guys, and they have a good mix of talent and guys that can really make it happen. Big physical wide receivers with speed, guys that are playmakers. Coach Kiffin knows his type. The tight end position with Trey Green is there. We was able to add some help through the transfer portal as well. So they've got something to work on. They were able to get Harlan Berry to remain. They were able to bring back Caden Durham. That was a big get, bringing him back because I think him and Harlan Berry would look very good in Lane Kiffin's wide open offense. I think getting Sam Levitt was huge because it was some little nervousness at first that he might have ended up in Miami. And for them to get him and Hussein Longstreet, because Miami was a position where Longstreet could ultimately have had an opportunity to go to. But the recruiting kind of taught them, listen, man, you don't have a lot of experience. You go out there, you might not be ready. Won't you just sit, you don't want to crash and burn, sit behind Sam, learn the game. You got 4 years of eligibility. Then you can ultimately take over the team in the future, possibly. So that was good. So they did a lot of really positive things, to be honest with you, fam, that really was very interesting, right? So the biggest part of it is the offensive line, right? Adding the guys in the college veterans and the transfer portal on the offensive line side is what they needed. Now we had some guys that stayed over, but getting depth and competition at the position was big. You know, whether it's Sprinkle, Satters, White, Jones, Stray, Jamar Jones, got two of them, Jacoby and Jamar Jones, Tompkins. Devin Harper is one of the top offensive linemen, so he'll step in as a potential starter. And Lou Ba, the big Baylor, Maryland Turpin, is there as well. So that is the point that I'm looking at, right? I'm more concerned. The only, I guess, concerns that I have is not so much for him to turn this in offense. I know Lane Kiffin is going to do that. He's done that no matter where he's went, right? He'll turn these guys into a dynamic offense. That's not the point. The issue is on the offensive line. We got to whip these guys into shape. We've been dealing with offensive line issues for what, at least the last couple of years. That's kind of what stagnated our growth as a team, as a program. Is the offensive line, the inconsistencies. These guys don't block, they can't protect the quarterback, and that kind of stopped us from really reaching where we need to be. So the point of contention will be going into training and all this kind of stuff, and getting these guys together when they finally hit the practice field, is finding out what that offensive line look like. And Jordan Seaton, if we can land him and get him, man, that will help out major league. That will be a huge get, because I think it's the last big need that we need out of the portal. And if they can get Seaton, they Seaton pretty good. And not to mention, but anyway, let's hit into this article right here. Bad joke. ESPN isn't too confident in Lane's given ability to reach the CFP in his first season in Baton Rouge, right? And we know about the speculation regarding the potential CFP expansion. Reported Friday that CFP is expected to stay at 12 teams, so no expansion for upcoming season. LSU hasn't qualified for the CFP since winning the title in 2019. It's been too long. Tigers supporters are eager to compete for another national championship with Lane Kiffin at the helm. I think we could turn this into a football factory, like I said, with like Ohio State and all these other teams. Georgia, always in that CFP. Recruiting and winning are a part of that. And that's what Lane Kiffin. He can coach. He can coach up an offense. He got Blake Baker for this year. We got to turn this into something, because you might not have him after this year, right? Blake Baker almost left the Tulane. There might be another job there's going to be another job that's going to pop open that that Blake could be going to. So if you got him this year, you got to do what you do when you got. So this is not a honeymoon year. I think the Tigers have to lock in, and they have to finish strong. So after Brian Kelly era in Baton Rouge ended in major disappointment, Kiffin already has high expectations heading to the first season. LSU's win total is set at 9.5 on FanDuel Sportsbook, and the Tigers have the sixth best odds to win a national championship on DraftKings Sportsbook. While the start of the season is still over 7 months away, college football playoff projections have already started to roll, despite receiving plenty of love from odd makers. LSU is nowhere to be found in ESPN 2026 bracket. Why the hell not? ESPN has missed the CFP for 7 straight seasons. ESPN's Bill Connolly projected his CFP field for 26 and has the Tigers missing out on action for the 7th straight season. Connolly early projections include the following teams: Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, USC, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma State, and Hawaii. Oh, yeah? He has Oregon and all these other guys, first round matchups: Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, Georgia advanced to the semifinals. He has Notre Dame defeating Georgia in the championship game. Tiger supporters aren't too thrilled with his projections. Who gives a damn? On paper, LSU is among the most talented rosters in all of college football, and Kiffin enters the year number one with the Tigers well positioned to make a CFP run. The Portal King has brought in 39 players through the portal so far, including QB Levitt and all these other guys. We talk about TJ Dottery, Yuma Meneling, Jordan Ross, and Levitt is among the Heisman favorites. So there's a lot of potential here. Kiffin also retained impact players Trey Green, Caden Durham, Harlan Berry, and Whit Weeks. Also held on to 5-star prospects Lamar Brown and Richard Anderson. It won't be easy, though. Tough matchup. September 5th against Clemson. We got that. Ole Miss September 19th. We got that. Versus Texas A&M, because what they're going to do? Try to beat him with his own stuff. Whatever they're running, it's a cheap knockoff version of whatever he gave them. So it won't make a difference. Versus Texas on September 26th, Alabama November the 7th, Texas November 14th. Await Kiffin, but he has an LSU roster in a great spot, and reaching the CFP is well within reach for the 20. Absolutely, is in reach. I don't know what's going on with Bill Connelly. Maybe he was off his meds that day, but there's no way that you cannot mention LSU in a CFP situation based on the fact that not only just the recruiting, but the presence of having a Lane Kiffin, which wherever he went, he always was able to recruit and build something dynamic. You have access to untold resources in LSU, and they're telling him, hey, man, we want to win. So whatever it takes, we want to win as quickly as possible. Kiffin got here. He built up, did the best that anybody can do with the 2026 recruiting on the back of the year, the transfer portal class off the chain. Getting Jordan Seaton will really help out. But in the end, all I can say is that, yes, LSU should be a team that you're talking about for the CFP. And if you ain't talking LSU, you ain't talking nothing. Bottom line, Connolly. Anyway, let's hit this up, man. Shout out to you guys, man. This is the final move right here. Let's kind of go over this list right here because we'll talk about some of the guys mentioned on this list, offensive and defensively. And listen, man, even though we get everybody meshed together, right? We got all the Harlan Berry, Caden Durham, all these guys, J.C. Brown, Eugene Brown, Eugene Brown, Eugene Wilson, Trey Brown, Jackson Harris, all these guys. We have all these terrific players that we'll pencil in. Trade as Green. Hopefully we'll get Jordan Seaton to match with Braylon Moore. But like I said, we got a lot of great players, man. And this is like LSU's depth chart as it stands right now for LSU Nation. So let's start. Sam Levitt at the top quarterback at the top position, followed by Hussein Longstreet and Landon Clark from Elon, right? There'll be a battle between those two and three for spots. But the development of Hussein Longstreet, this street could help him set him up after Sam Levitt leaves. And I really do think Sam Levitt, if he stays healthy and operate behind Lane Kiffin's offense, he will be a Heisman Trophy finalist. He can basically follow Jaden Daniels' performance. Remember, the last quarterback we got from Arizona State was Jaden Daniels, and he told the league up. I mean, he told the SEC up. If we'd have had a half a defense or some resemblance of a defense, I think we would have been good. Hell, I thought we would be astronomically larger if we'd have won a national championship that year. Had we had some resemblance of a defense. I'm not kidding you, but that's what I'm thinking. But outside of that, I think big things are popping for this team. From the running back position, Harlan Berry sits on top of that depth chart, followed by Caden Durham. That's our 1-2 punch, followed by Dylan Jones, Racine Guillory, Rod Gainey, and Stacy Gage. All these fantastic. So the running back room was built up with 4 runners added between the top 2 guys in Berry and Durham. Looking solid right there. You go to the wide receiver position. There are 13 wide receivers that LSU added. Just to be honest with you guys, they added all that terrific talent to the team. I'm not going to tell you no lie. You take a look at some of the people that they added right there. You can see the team added Philip Wright. You know, they got him there. They added him to the team. Philip Wright, Corey Barber, those guys. These are some of the guys that are still available on the team, right? Philip Wright, Corey Barber, Jabari Mack, Braden Allen, Jackson Harris, Trey Brown, J.C. Brown, Eugene Wilson III, Malik Elzy, Josh Jackson from McNeese, Tyree Holloway, Winston Watkins, and Roman Mothershed. So they have 13 wide receivers there. So like I said, Lane Kiffin had no quarterbacks. He got 3 of them in the transfer portal. The best 2 guys in there. And then you look at the running back, bringing Harlan Berry to stay. Caden Durham went into the transfer portal and they talked him out of it. Then added 4 running backs underneath them to make the room at 6. Their room was just absolutely eviscerated. The room was eviscerated. A lot of the wide receivers left. They added 13 from the portal. 13 altogether, and several receivers coming out of the portal to help add talent to the wide receiver room, right? Then, of course, as we keep it cycling, man, let's go to the next slide right here because the next slide shows the tight ends, right? We got 5 tight ends. Trey Green, they made a deal, NIL deal to keep him. We still have JD LaFleur, JC Anderson, Malachi Thomas, and Zach Grace were guys that we added through via the portal. So we get good talent there as well. So, like I said, man, a lot of positive stuff on the offense. And then the big get is, as you see on the offensive line, 16 linemen here. Braylon Moore, the center stage, you still have Weston Davis. They got Solomon Thomas, Braden Augustus, Bo Bordelin, and Brett Bordelin. And then, of course, you see guys like Bryson Martinez, Ryan Moret, and then you have the transfer portal guys that were added to this team. Sprinkle, Jaquan Sprinkle, Jacoby Jones, William Satterwhite, Darian Stray, Jamar Jones, Sean Tompkins, Devin Harper, who's going to be a really good one for you, and Alu Ba from Maryland. So you have 16 offensive linemen that you added to the team, which is really big, right? Then we go to the defensive side of the day, right? From a defensive line standpoint, let me see if I can get that right here. They got 8 guys here from the defensive line standpoint. Gabe Relaford is still on the team, as right. Gabe Relaford. To talk about him is Damian Shanklin, the 6'5", 260 defensive end. You got Cobbins, Collage Cobbins, Dylan Carpenter, Trenton Henderson, Jalen Brown, Jordan Ross, and Prince Will Umaminaline. So they added talent right there, and there'll be some competition at the D-line position as well. And Gabe Relaford is another guy people are looking forward to. But also, where's Prince Hill fits in this? There's going to be a competition with Jordan Ross, Prince Will, Jalen Brown, Gabe Relaford, Shanklin, Carpenter. It's going to be a competition at the defensive line position, right? All right, then we kick into defensive line. Dominic McKinley, Sean Washington, Brandon Brown. Then there's Lamar Brown. You had Richard Anderson, Deuce Geralds, Stephilian Green that comes over from Clemson, Malik Blockton from Auburn, and Achilles Wood, who's a Mobile guy, comes from South Alabama, 6'3", 290, to add that depth to the team. So the defensive line, like I said, the defense for LSU is looking really good, man, to be honest with you. Some of the gets, especially getting Prince Will and Ross, that helps out with the pass rusher because you've seen what happened with other guys. A couple of our defensive ends are gone. The transfers from last year are headed into the NFL's draft. So they're going. So let's hit the linebackers. We have 9 linebackers. Whit Weeks was talked back. We have Devon Keys, Tylen Singleton, Zach Weeds, Charles Ross, Keelan Moses, and Jaden Baker. Now, the team added TJ Dottery from Ole Miss. That's going to be an interesting to see where Dottery fits and competing with Devon Keys or however it goes. So he's going to be a main factor. Plus, you get T.O. Grace from North Dakota, who's the brother of the tight end. So we have a few things that we rolling and ripping. And there's some players like Prince Will and TJ Dottery that come over from Ole Miss's defense. Where do they fit at in the new LSU's defense? So there'll be some competition at those positions, right? All right, then let's shift to the cornerback position. You got some cornerbacks there to talk about. 9 cornerbacks in total, right? 9 cornerbacks in total. You got 1 star player, which is CJ Jim Kaloli. And then, of course, the cornerbacks, PJ Woodland, DJ Pickett, Jakeem Jackson, Michael Turner, Aiden Anding. And then you have Havon Feeney that was added to it. You have Desirian Ellis, Traylon James, and Amari Peterson. So you got a few guys added to the cornerback room. Really excited about LSU secondary. Really am with PJ Woodland and DJ Pickett. Those 2 guys are going to, they were special for us. And we'll see what the other guys have to bring as full. But Havon Finney is another guy. Where does he fit in this class? So it's going to be some competition there as well. Safety position. As we move into the safety, 9 safeties to Marcus Cooley and Deshaun Spears. Those guys are 2 of our top guys. But you got Jace Thomas, Aiden Hall, Isaiah Washington, Ty Benefield is in the mix there. He comes over 100+ tackles. Where does Ty Benefield fit in this safety mesh, right? Fahim Delaney, the brother of Mansour, Mason Doucette, and Jackson Williams from Louisiana, who's 6'2". So this is going to be fun. Like I said, there's a lot of versatility here. There's depth here for this year and to add on to next year. And of course, if you start talking about the special teams, you got your kicker there and Scott Starzik from Arkansas. The punter is Grant Chadwick, with Hayden Craig kind of competing with each other. The lone snapper is Matt Mulhern. So we got a few things going on there as well. And all I can say is at the end of the day, you look at this team and only time will tell. But in your estimation, what kind of team is this? We know that Blake Baker and Corey Raymond and some of these guys are really good coaching the defense. You see, they have really solid pickups from 2026 recruiting class. We got holdovers from this last year's team with Weeks and all these guys. And then on the offense, you still have some of the offensive pieces that were left over in terms of our offensive linemen. I mean, right? You got Braylon Moore, you got Weston Davis, and a few others, as they will then add talent along with that. But at the end of the day, what kind of team is this? Is this a CFP team in your estimation? It most certainly is not a 3-loss team. I could damn well say this team might. I don't want to put too much on them too soon, because you got to go and look at pieces of tape, and of course, health has a lot to do with this as well. But this is not a 3 or 4 loss team. This team is going to be a very solid team, and they're still building. So, like I said, if we can end up getting some help, man, if we can end up landing that damn tackle, if you stop playing around, if you stop playing around and hurry up and sign Jet, we can be able to do something. I mean, that guy is the last piece of it. Come on, Jordan Seaton, I'm sorry. Jordan Seaton, come on to Death Valley, man. If you could stop playing around, my brother, and come on and sign and stop playing, man, and come on and make LSU your home, man, it would be so cool. But anyway, man, let me give y'all a final update, man, on Jordan Seaton and what's going on with him, because this is a money move. Ain't no doubt about it. Let me get this on screen. Y'all hit the like button, man. We going all out on this episode. It usually supposed to be a 30-minute. This is a bonus episode, man, because we feeling good on Tuff Tiger Talk. Jordan Seaton's transfer decision, development over NIL offers is the key factor. Now, this just happened an hour ago, right? Colorado Buffaloes offensive tackle Jordan Seaton is one of the most closely watched names in the portal since entering after the end of the season. As the final enrollment window started to close across the nation, however, the standout offensive tackle has yet to sign, right? As a former 5-star recruit out of IMG Academy, Seaton played in 22 games with the Buffaloes in the past 2 years after deciding to enter the portal. Seaton is seen as a high upside prospect for any program that's able to close the deal, with a few suitors leading the race for his signature. 6'5", 330, was named the All Big 12 second team in 2025, started 9 games and allowing only 2 sacks and 7 pressures, according to PFF. Now, Seaton is ranked as the number 1 offensive tackle in the portal, and also clocks in as the number 4 overall prospect in On3's portal rankings. According to the new report by On3 Pete Nakos, the top remaining player in the portal is not focused on 3 finalists: LSU, Miami, and Oregon, right? So LSU is there, right? So it's between those 3, LSU, Miami, and Oregon. That's what is it going to take to land a deal? All of these programs have made aggressive pushes, with Miami LSU hosting Seaton last weekend and Oregon staff flying out to meet him in Atlanta for a rare face-to-face. Although LSU appeared to gain momentum early this week following the visit from Seaton, social media interactions with Coach Kiffin, the window to enroll for spring workouts closed Thursday. So Miami's deadline follows on Friday. Oregon's quarter system allows for a longer timeline, keeping them alive in the race. So, yeah, there you go. That's a big one, And that's what LSU was kind of pushing on them. Say, hey, man, listen, we need to get your call in by this past Tuesday. So, the window to enroll for spring workouts closed. And will they make? I don't know how this is going to end, but It's a possibility it can go in an opposite direction, but it's worth monitoring. NACO's reported that Seaton's market value could exceed $2 million, with an early projection for a top-tier offensive lineman ranging from $500,000 to $1.2. He wants the money, no doubt about it. That's why he left Colorado. It's not just about winning to him. The guy wants money. Still, sources revealed a new detail that might change the course of Seaton's recruiting and lead to his final decision. According to NACO's report, citing those sources, it is his development, not just money, which is expected to be a major deciding factor. Citing it is his development. I think it's the money. Sources have speculated Seaton will command $2 million range at least. It's not just about who can offer the most lucrative package. However, with development expected to factored into Colorado. What do you mean by development? What are you talking about? I mean, you getting $2 million, you're going to start. Ain't nobody going to kiss your ass. You're going to come down here and you're going to work. If you give you this $2 million, you're going to come down here and you're going to handle your business. So I don't know what he's talking about with the development and all this kind of stuff. What you talking about? The development is up to you. Got to pick the right team and you got to believe in the coach. You take the money, you get down here and get to work. It will be no giving you no quarter or giving you anything. You're going to have to earn it making that kind of money. So I don't know what he's talking about development. The detail represent a shift from speculations around his recruitment, which had largely centered on the NIL packages. What are you talking about? And could pay more to land him. What he's trying to do is he's trying to wait teams out, right, to see if he can get more money out of them. That's the bottom line. This is what this is. Ain't got nothing to do with no development. What are you talking about? If you're getting $2 million, you're going to start, and that is all you can ask for. You're getting the money and you get an opportunity to start. After that, it's on you. So I don't know what this development nonsense is. It's about money and trying to wait them out to get more money. That's what this is. That detail represents a shift in speculation surrounding his recruitment, which had largely centered on NIL packages and could pay more money to land them. See? While NACO's confirmed that a lucrative NIL offer will still be in place, Seaton seems to be looking for the right development fit ahead of what could be a pivotal year for his career and future in the NFL. What is about developmental fit? I mean, you pick these teams. You got 3 teams. See, and that kind of stuff kind of makes me just want to just be like, this guy is confused, man. What you talking about developmental fit? You the one that decided on these teams. All of these teams are good teams. LSU, Miami just competed in a national title, right? They're a good team. They're going to have a drop off next year because they don't have a quarterback. And I can see what the dude that used to play for Tulane trying to leave Duke to go there. And he's trying to move to go catch crystal ball in Miami. That's what he's trying to do. It won't work. Oregon, y'all know Oregon was a college football program. They made it in the playoffs. So did Miami. LSU did not. So, say that then. If you weren't about fit for the draft, then you need to get with a system that's going to represent that. And that ain't Miami. Miami don't even have a quarterback. Oregon, they did get the quarterback did come back for his final year there in Oregon. So that might be a fit. But in terms of that, if you're looking at it from that perspective, it's between basically LSU and Oregon. I'm just being honest with you. LSU have a spot for you. Oregon would be a good look too if that's where you're going. But all this back and forth nonsense is starting to get on my damn nerves, to be honest with you. And Guy is being first up about the NIL money, and now it's about the developmental fit. It ain't about no developmental fit. It's about money. The dude trying to wait him out to get more money. And the reality, if we don't, I would love to have Jordan Seaton on the team. But if we don't land Jordan Seaton, I think we'll be well enough along. I think we'll be able to develop and build a good offensive line. That'll still be one of the top offenses in the game. So, I mean, whether you're going to Lane Kiffin or Dan Lanning, the bottom line is it's a win-win for you. I mean, bottom line. But anyway, that's all I got for this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. Do me a service, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Big Q representing the Tiger Nation, baby. Stand up on that thing. We'll be back on another episode. We're going to keep watching this soap opera that is Jordan Seaton. Hopefully, real soon over the next 3 days. Rumors are saying something over the next 3 days. He'll have a decision. But based on what we're looking at, it ain't looking like he's headed this way. It's not looking like he's headed this way. But we'll be locked in to see what happens there. Anyway, y'all stay tuned, man. We'll give an update as soon as we can. With that being said, I'm out. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one. Much love, peace, and go Tigers.